We ended up going with the Tracker Off-Road Ox400 just for farting around on and having a little side-by-side road trip whenever we could do it out in the woods. So far, initial impressions of this thing, it's pretty nice. I've been using it as a yard donkey to move the trailer around. Just moved 5 bales of straw with it. I'm going to take it around all over the place and see what it does when we get into some of the parts back here to the south in the tree line. Take it around the property, see what we're looking at, and see if it's going to do what we want it to do. I'm pretty sure that it will, but we'll find out. It's basically a overgrown golf cart, so we'll see how it runs out. The only problem I had with it when I picked it up from Bass Pro Shops was I needed to do a little throttle adjustment on it. The throttle was a little bit non-responsive, so I tightened it up. Seems to be working quite well. We'll hit this hill, see how well it does on this hill. Roof is a little rattly. I think I'm gonna have to get some rubber washers up in that thing just to silence it up a little bit. This thing's got the Kawasaki 400cc with a CVT transmission, so let's see how it handles this hill. Not bad. I didn't notice any real drop in speed. Take it up over by the pond. We weren't overly concerned about the four-wheel drive aspect of it, because if we needed four-wheel drive, that's why we've got the four-wheelers. We were thinking of it more as just like a pontoon boat instead of a speedboat. I know this has been a pretty smooth ride because mostly this is a maintained part of the property, but we're going to go back here where it's not so maintained, see how well this thing handles back here. It's been pretty cold here lately, so got a big bump here. Huh. Alright, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. Definitely isn't going to be a four-wheel drive machine, but I honestly didn't think it was going to make it past that little dip back there. This thing's pretty awesome, doing what I was not expecting it to be able to do. The only issue I have with this whole thing is coming up right now. This is a ridiculously loud rewind siren that comes off of this thing. Turning radius on this thing is pretty impressive too. Imagine if I put a little bit better off-road tires on it, I wouldn't have the little bit of slippage that I've had back there on some of the wet grass, but it made it through. Definitely not built for speed, but I don't really care about that. For the price point on the off-road, the Tracker off-road, boy, I don't know if you can beat it. If you're just looking for a little tiny two-wheel drive side by side, this thing has been fantastic so far as I've been driving it around today. Can't really beat it in my opinion. I'll go over some of the features here in a second, but just for a regular guy who lives in the Midwest, is looking for something to work around the property and use for deer hunting when the weather's not too bad, I think this will be a good machine for it. This is pretty simple. Like I said earlier, it's basically a souped up golf cart. I don't have a problem with that, especially with the performance that I saw when we were out in the back part of the property where it's not really maintained and it's pretty rough. The thing did really well getting around back there. Yeah, some of it was kind of jouncy and bumpy, so I wasn't able to get all of it on video, but it works really well back there. I'm going to have a good time with this thing. And then we decided to go to OHV parks. My wife and I will have a good time just cruising around in those areas. It's got a gas gauge. The only one frustration I have is the gas gauge only works when you're pushing the gas, because that's what's giving it the power, because the motor doesn't run unless you're on the gas pedal. Horn works really well. Headlight switch. You can get your headlights working. I like that it's got spots for more rocker panels. If I ever decide to put a winch into it, that'll be where I run the controls on it. 12 volt, kind of nice. Lots of storage in the front part of this thing. I really like that. Different storage compartments all over it. Emergency brake is there on the brake pedal. The dump bed is nice. It's just switches on the side. That'll get you into your motor compartment, engine compartment. Like I had said, I had to do a little bit of adjustment on the throttle that you see right there. I had to spin that dude all the way back to make it a little bit more responsive, so that when I actually push the gas, it went somewhere. That piston there is nice. It pushes that bed up, helping with bed lift if you're a little heavy. I could see if you were doing a real heavy lifting job, you'd probably want to have the majority of your weight in the back of the bed just to help out with that. Switches for the tailgate, or latches for the tailgate, I guess. Tailgate drops down. Latches back up. Overall, for a two-wheel drive machine, for the price point that you're getting it at, I would say if you're thinking about it, buy it. You're going to enjoy it. Does plenty of all that I'm wanting it to do. And if I want anything heavier, I'll grab the four-wheeler. It's bigger, it's four-wheel drive, and it'll get the job done for me.